Welcome to Your Epic Pursuit. I'm Mike Mooney, and this is a space where we dive into inspiring and real conversations with people to explore their journeys of leadership and performance. And as usual, we're going to look at their stories through the epic lens of excellence, presence, intentionality, and curiosity, the four timeless and essential keys that help people unlock new levels of performance. And look, our mission here today is really quite simple. We want to empower you with new ideas, tools, insights, frameworks that's going to help accelerate your pursuit in life, whether that's in business or life. And I am so excited to have with us today Scott Love. Scott is the president of the Attorney Search Group. It's a high-stakes headhunting firm for global law firms. He's also the host and producer of the Rainmaking podcast, a very long-running, by the way, podcast out there in the market, and also the co-author of Rainmaking Confidential. And I think you all just heard my New York come out of me when I said co-author in that. So now we have that on video moving forward. So Scott, I want to thank you, man. You were a busy individual doing all that work, as well as a keynote speaker out there in the industry as well. Thank you for carving out the time to be with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike. It's an honor for me. Thank you for having me here. I'm excited.
Oh, good, man. Good. I know it's going to be a great conversation just from your perspective and your experience, but just want to kind of start out. Look, we are clearly in some unusual times, to say the least. You know, a lot of leaders are, challenged in their, leadership approach, their styles. Sometimes are a challenge during these times as well. A lot of unknowns out there. I'm sure you're talking with a lot of leaders in your space and in the law industry. And I'm curious, maybe like what are you seeing right now with leaders, but maybe more importantly, like how are you helping them? What are some of the things that you're sharing with them that maybe keep them, a little more steady in the seat while they're trying to navigate this time?
Right. And to answer your first question, I've seen people are concerned, but they're not freaking out. The sky isn't falling. It is not falling. We've been through harder things than this in recent times. So I think we've built some really good resilience muscles. And this isn't a knock on the chin. This is just a tap on the shoulder. So I think in context, compared to all the recent events that we've had, like COVID and all the big change we've been through, I think we built some pretty good resilience muscles. What I'm seeing is within my niche, I recruit corporate and finance partners for global law firms. So people that do deals, whether it's private equity or on the finance side, all the different aspects of that. And so I got really niched in that area. Then I also do law firm mergers. I'll merge small firms into big firms. And so I still see a lot of opportunity out there. I think that even if things go downward, there's still opportunities. People can still find a way to make things work. But I love being involved in this niche. I talk with nerdy, nichey people all day. and every day I learn something.
Yeah. I mean, well, the stroking that curiosity itch is important. I know that about you. But the two things that pop out to me, what you said, there was resilience and opportunity. And I think if, from a leadership perspective, those are two muscles, right? That really, I think we have to be working on, whether you're in times of challenge or when times are flying high and the skies are blue, that you're going to continue to be resilient. But more importantly, there's opportunity, right? Even in the face of the greatest challenges, there is opportunity if perhaps we would come at it from like a lens of curiosity instead of that preconception of, oh, the sky is falling. Look at the headlines, read the headlines. Can't you see what's happening?
And I think that's what leadership is all about. Somebody that sets the tone and also frames the context of it. And this is something I've learned over the years, just going to the Naval Academy, graduating from it, coming into the fleet. You're in a bad situation. You tell your sailors, we're in a bad situation. But this is our plan and we're going to be okay. And I think not sugarcoating it, not telling them anything that's just true. I think our society has really gotten aware when we're being conned by leaders that tell us things are great, but they're not. And I think authenticity is even more important. I think being real with people, leveling with them, but then also showing them, this is how we're going to benefit from this. This is where I see opportunities. This is our plan, but we're going to be okay. So that's my take on that.
No, I love that because it's true. I mean, people, they have a pretty attuned sense of smell for the BS, especially in times of anxiousness. They're watching leaders, and how they're acting. And I hear what they're saying, but they're watching their feet, and to your point of, I love the transparent conversation and, the opportunity then to say, here's what's really going on. Here's the plan. Here's your role, right? You get to be a part of this solution. And by the way, we need you to play this role in this solution so we all get through this together, right?
And even telling people why. This is why
Yeah,
you're significant. When I was on the ship years ago during Operation Desert Shield, our ship was a minesweeper. The sonar wouldn't work. I remember telling my petty officer who was in charge of fixing it,
right.
this is why you're going to have to spend your 5th weekend away from your family fixing it. I said, we're the most important ship in the fleet because they depend on us to get in and clear the mines. Right now, you're the most important sailor in the U.S. Navy. You need to spend one more weekend here and get that fixed.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I,
No problem. Showing how their significance ties in with the mission, giving them something to be proud of, giving them that energy that it's another weekend, my 6th one away from my family. I'm the most important sailor in the U.S. Navy. I can do it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I love that. And thank you for answering that call for our country. I do appreciate that, especially being on the tip of that spear, especially in the water. I mean, that is literally,
Right.
you literally are the most important ship in that fleet. And one of your most important tools was not working, right? So, I mean, that's a great example. That's a great example of bringing them in.
That was a stressful time, and that's a young man's job.
You had darker hair before that.
That's right. Much darker. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, speaking of leadership journeys that you've seen, obviously back from being a naval officer all the way to where you are today, I'm curious if there was a time when you made a bold decision that maybe some people questioned, maybe even yourself questioned in the moment, but ultimately, led to a transformation for your leadership, or maybe even the experience itself.
Yeah, it was saying no to opportunities that didn't align with my goals. And it was learning how to get comfortable with doing that.
Hold on here. Hold on. That's so really it wasn't saying yes to more. It was trying to figure out the right parameters to
Yeah,
say no.
that's right. And I think
Okay.
with me, I get interested in so many things that it's easy for me to get sidetracked. And it's easy for me to take a business line away from my core business because, oh, that might be interesting. How hard can it be? And before you know it, that's taking 80% of my time. And so that's something I've had to learn over the years
Huh.
is number one, get real clear on what my vision is.
Hmm.
And so for many years, I didn't have a real clear vision of what I wanted. I had a vision of 3 or 4 things I could do. And I don't think that's possible for most people. Some people can run 3 companies and
Yeah.
that's great. I can't. And that's what I've learned is that being honest with who you are, what motivates you, and what you're really good at. And it kind of hurt to say, well, I can't do this and that. But it didn't hurt. It was like, well, I thought I could do all of it. I just can't. But it took the pressure off. So that's the bold thing I did was shut down. I had a sales training company that was niche within the recruiting and staffing industry. I
Okay.
sold it in 2016. I relaunched it 2 years ago, and oh my goodness, it was just it didn't get me what I wanted, so I shut it down. I had to quickly shut it down. And some people had made investments in it. I was able to refund them on a pro rata basis. I didn't burn any bridges. Everybody was good with it. Some people were sad I wasn't offering that up.
Yeah.
But that was a bold move I made, was getting clear on what is it that I want in my life right now
Yeah.
and the vision I have. And so that's something I'd give for the advice for the people listening is what is your vision? And then make sure that anything that doesn't contribute to that vision doesn't get on your calendar. And it meant me saying no to things that were important to me. Like I loved Rotary. I loved being a Rotarian, but
Mhm.
for various conflict reasons, scheduling, I just couldn't say yes to that. So I didn't have to say no to that forever. Maybe in about another year, I'm going to rejoin. But
Right.
I had to say no to things that were important to me that didn't get me closer to my goal. And I remember hearing a sales trainer, Brian Tracy,
Mhm.
say, ask yourself this question. Does this action take you closer to or further away from your goals? So that's what I had to do was get that real clear vision of this is what I want in my business, get real clear on what the goals are, and then ask myself, does this take me closer to or further away? If it's further away, I'm not going to do it. So even people would reach
Mm.
out, can I hire you to coach me? Sorry, I just don't do that anymore. Here's somebody else you can talk to.
Who
So
does-
that's the bold move I made, Mike,
yeah.
was just learning how to say no.
There's a lot in there, and thank you for mentioning the Brian Tracy part because I was going to say like I think you're speaking to me. I think this is just you and me like that. I was meant to hear that now because I think as leaders, as entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, like you have a natural tendency to see opportunity in things, and there are times where I think it was Mark Cuban had a said one time, don't be careful not to drown an opportunity. And
Absolutely.
it's easy to do because you find yourself being taken away. But I love the idea of clarity of vision. There's also a bit of like ego, having to put ego aside, right? To say that, no, I can't do this right now, right? But the action, that was what I was going to ask you, which is so powerful in Brian's questions. Is this action going to take me closer or further away?
Right. And it's made me also say no to other speaking opportunities. Wow, that's really good. I'd love to speak to that group, but it just doesn't align. It doesn't work in my schedule
Mm,
where maybe I would have said yes a couple of years ago,
yeah,
but then it also opens up opportunities. Well, here's another event that is closer to my goals. I would be interested in that. So I
that's right.
think once you understand what your vision is
Yeah,
and you get clear to it, then it becomes a lot easier. You build muscles like we talked about before. You build
yeah,
muscles in learning how to say no
you're
and
right.
learning how to say yes to the right things. And
Yeah.
then when you start seeing that there's payoff, then
Yeah.
it becomes a lot easier.
Yeah, yeah, no, and that's the thing, right? Because most of the time we've got two hands on different things, and you got to let go of one,
That's right.
right, in order to make space to reach with the other, right? So
Exactly right.
that is so powerful. Thank you, Scott. That is great. Now, with all that you've been doing, again, it sounded like before you have multiple different businesses that were rolling. You've had a lot of different corporate experience on the corporate level. Has there been a time when you had a team of people, or maybe yourself, when you were just hitting the wall? Right. Because there are times when, as leaders, we're just running wide open. And oftentimes we don't take time for ourselves. Our team feels like they got to keep up the pace as well. But was there a time when you were at that place and maybe took maybe an unconventional approach that helped create a breakthrough, whether that was for yourself, maybe it was for the team, but you did something that actually just changed the outcome of where you all thought you were heading, which was straight into the wall and burnout?
This is about a year ago. And so I recruit partners. I've been recruiting for 30 years, half of that in legal. I recruit partners for big law firms, the top
Mhm.
100, usually top 50. And about a year and a half ago, I'm reaching out to partners and they're not calling me back. And I'm wondering why that is. I'm like, gosh, don't you know who I am? I mean, I'm not saying it like that, but I'm the real deal. And
Yeah.
they get so many calls from competitors because in 2021, 2022, so many people got into my business and they're all calling the same people at the same
Wow.
time. And
Wow.
so all of a sudden, all the candidates that I'm trying to recruit, their walls go up. And so I
Mm.
had to find a way to create distinction. How
Right.
can I get that shiny lure in front of them to get them to look at me? And
Mhm.
so the big breakthrough was not recruiting everything, but only corporate and finance partners. And so I've done a lot
Absolutely.
of recruiting IP partners, regulatory litigation. When I said, I'm going to declare this, only corporate and finance partners, that's all I'm going to do is recruit
Mm.
just them. So in my reach out to them, three things happened. In my reach out to them, I became distinct. So now I can say there's hundreds of recruiters out there. I'm the only one in the world that's niched within corporate and finance. So I provided distinction just because of how I declared my niche. Secondly, I was able to earn trust with people because now I know what they do. And that's the only thing I'm thinking about right now.
Yeah.
Corporate and finance partners, corporate and finance partners. That's all I'm thinking about. So I'm able to earn trust with them because I see what their needs are. And then third, I started seeing things I didn't see before because that's the only thing I'm thinking about. Because I have this bandwidth now that's only focused on one thing in a deep, nichey sort of way. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing opportunities I didn't see. I see how components of practices fit together.
Right.
And it's on the client development side, it's helped me significantly to win work if I want it. It's easy for me to get a new client if I want that, or sell a retainer if I want that, just
Mhm.
because of that breakthrough,
Yeah.
clearing a niche. And there are other things that I've done, tested it. Also, I made sure I would test it. I'm going to do a sample of 100 reach outs and see what the result is. So I would test it. I tested a different practice area before, decided that wasn't going to work, niched on this. And so it's opened up opportunities. A major media publication reached out to me this week to talk to me about what's the trend within the legal market right now and
Nice.
my niche focus,
Nice.
expertise. So, so to anybody that's in business and business development, look at what can you say about yourself that nobody else can say about themselves, and maybe there's opportunities there for you. So that's the wall that we hit and how we broke through
And,
that.
and how you broke through. I think that that's phenomenal. That to me, one of the pillars in the epic model is around intentionality, right? And intentionality being in not just our words, but more importantly also our actions and behavior. And what you're talking about there of that breakthrough of really like niching in to create that trust and more importantly the distinction. There's a huge lesson in there, again, because we oftentimes leaders or entrepreneurs, solopreneurs are trying to be all things to all people in a particular area, and you can't. And you feel like you're missing opportunity if you were just to kind of narrow.
The truth is, what you said, Mike, you are missing opportunities. You can't get everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you remember when you take your kids to Chuck E. Cheese for their birthdays, their 8-year-old birthday party?
We still go now without the kids. It's okay.
That's right. Yeah. And you see the wind tunnel where they have all these tickets flying around, and the kids spend 60 minutes in this wind tunnel with thousands of tickets flying around. And at the end of those 60, not 60 minutes, 60 seconds, at the end of those 60 seconds, they walk out holding one ticket.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the story of my life, chasing too many things, and I only got one. And so you will not get every opportunity.
Yeah.
You will not be able to say yes to everything that comes across your path. Clear on what your vision is. And of course, you test it. You want to make sure it's real and it's not just a great idea because you think it's a great idea. It has to be a great idea because other people think it's a great idea. And you test it and you implement it in the right sort of way. Then you will say no to certain things, but you'll feel good about that because you're getting enough opportunities.
You're getting the opportunities. There is a bit of a gut level, I'd imagine, in this, but I love how you call back to the testing, put it into play, test the market. What's the response you're going to get? Because really, what we're trying to put in the market isn't what we want; it's what the market needs. And if you're not meeting that need, it doesn't matter what you have or what you want.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
No, that's fantastic. And in this, Scott, has there been a leadership? There have been a lot of books on principles, leadership principles, things like that. And here are the things that you should be following and doing. And these are all the conventional, approaches to leadership principles. I'm sure you had a lot of that in your academy curriculum, back in the day. But is there a principle that you've discovered that might be a little, I don't know, contradicts conventional wisdom, but is always, for whatever reason, always kind of paid off and shown up for you?
Yeah, I would say take your self-interest out of it. Where if you're in business development or sales, you make money when you sell your product. Or if you're in professional services, you have to, I don't want to say sell, but you have to earn the trust of people that can say yes to you. And in my business, it's what I call a derivative success business. I only make money when I make a placement, but only if two people come together. In other words, I create a mutual satisfaction of needs. And so my goal is to channel the self-interests of my candidates so they intersect with my client's strategy. And it's not about me. It's taking my own goals and my own needs out of it. But what is that?
Right.
You get a percentage when you make a placement. Yes.
Right.
But it's not about me.
Right.
And when you have that intention where it's not your show, it's about them. And you have the right sort of philosophy, and of course, you have the volume of opportunities and conversations, et cetera, you will have enough to make it worth your while. And I found so just 2 days ago, one of my colleagues put this successful elite finance partner on my calendar, and I talked with this candidate, and this person wants to move. And I even told him, I said, "Are you sure you should move?" And it was interesting because when I said, "Are you sure you should move?" I don't know if you should. It's almost like I earned more trust from him because I'm going against my own self-interest.
Right.
And so I think when we play the long game, and if we're in a business where, yes, we get something when people say yes to us, but not everybody is a prospect. And I think it goes back to really qualifying. Is that a prospect? Are they really a qualified prospect for you? And if they're not, then you can't make them be one. And if they're not, and you tell them, I just don't think we're the right fit.
Yeah.
But I'd like to give you some resources. This is something that can help you. Well, you've got a referral advocate out there too. And so just realizing, is it a deal killer or is it a deal complicator? not every deal should close. Sometimes there are deal opportunities. It's just a deal killer. It's not going to go through. It never should have happened. Reverse engineer that. Go back to the very beginning. Don't put people in your process unless they're truly a qualified person. So, anyways, to answer your question, Mike, it was understanding what is it that I'm really trying to accomplish. It's creating a mutual satisfaction and needs between two different people, and it's not my own interest. Taking my own interest out of it. And I found that it helped me to earn trust with the law firm clients,
Yeah.
and it helps me to earn trust with the candidate. So now I have more privilege with them. Now they're sharing with me information that they normally wouldn't have, where I can help steer them in a direction that helps them move forward in their careers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, okay, that's thank you. I mean, that is absolutely fantastic guidance on so many levels, Scott. I mean, to me, one of the headlines that I hear in that is oftentimes if you're in sales trying to get your deal done, look, we all are in sales to some extent or some level. Let's own that. But we have a preconception of how we want this to play out. We have expectations that we bring to the party that we want to see play out because they benefit us. Instead of, to your point, is saying, okay, look, I'm going to remove myself from this. I'm going to take the stance of curiosity. What does my, as you said here, what is my candidate looking for? And let me see if I can find the right client that would actually this could make sense for, right? So this state of curiosity instead of preconception or expectation frees you up, doesn't it?
Exactly right. And what
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but that one word that you said when I started the Rainmaking podcast right after COVID,
Yep.
that was when, remember when you call up people, how are you? Is your family safe? How are you? Are you safe?
Yeah.
I mean, we got real with people really quick. All of
Yeah,
a
we
sudden,
did.
everybody got close because we're going through the same bad thing at the same time.
Yeah.
And when I would interview people for my show when it first started, I noticed that the theme is not closing, closing, closing. It's curiosity. And I've kind of kept that. And I know you have also,
Yeah.
where I may not be the right fit for you, but tell me about the problems that you have in your group. Tell me about the performance issues that you have. Well, let me suggest a leadership workshop for you, like you would do for one of your client prospects. And if it's not the fit, it's not a fit.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something down the road. And I think when people can hold on to that and know that this is who I am, this is what my value is, I'm not the right fit for everybody, and be able to tell them that. So anyways, those are my thoughts about that.
Yeah, no, I mean that absolutely, is a great bow tie on this space of, sometimes it's not always about us, right? And
Exactly right.
and we just need to step. There's a great book called The Go-Giver, which I'm sure that you've read that, brings that to life of like if you go into it with that giving, curious mentality. And that intentionality, right? That presence in there, man, the world is there for you, right? But that also requires patience. And it requires us looking at it through the lens of the long game of not the transaction, which is difficult because a lot of people find themselves on that hamster wheel,
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there before too. I understand what that, I understand what you mean.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. But you've seen the other side of it too, and you can see that there's greater benefit and probably a better lifestyle and mental health and just relational development through that versus churn and burn.
You're right. And you can see there's indications of when you're moving into that space
Mhm.
where your clients start reaching out to you and asking you questions that aren't related to what you actually do and how your answers impact their strategic growth.
Yeah.
We're thinking about opening up a new office. What do you think about that? Even if it's not related to what you actually do,
Yeah.
when they invite you in, when they're engaging, but they're not just responsive, but they're also engaging. What are you doing this weekend, Mike? Those sorts of things. Then you know that those are indications of trust. When they invite you in to spend time with them, to spend time with their colleagues, that means you're making them look good. That means that there's more trust, there's more opportunities there. And maybe those are things that you should look for where you can maybe move that relationship forward to the next level.
Without a doubt, even in times of uncertainty like today, right? I mean, and that's what I love about this. Yeah. Scott, this has been fantastic, man. Thank you so much for opening up your mind, sharing your heart related to leadership. I've taken out so many notes here from the power of saying no to stay focused. That powerful question from Brian Tracy: is the action taking you closer or further away from that vision? So investing that time to really think about what is that vision for me now? I may have multiple, but what is the one that really matters the most to me? And putting ego off to the side because our ego is not our amigo, right?
That's right.
The idea of niching in to create distinction and earning trust is so powerful, but making sure that you're testing it in the market as well. And then keeping curiosity at the center of your interactions in sales or whatever it is that you're taking in the market, right? To understand what is it that people are looking for in there. The long game, brother. This has been great. I really appreciate all this knowledge. Clearly indicators of why you've been so successful and continue to be so successful in your field. I'm grateful that you would carve out time to spend that with me and with this audience to sharpen our saws a bit, my friend.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you again for the opportunity. It's really exciting to see you.
Thank you. Same here. And for all of you tuning in, thank you for checking us out on your epic pursuit. Please leave your thoughts in the comments below. Any feedback or ideas, I would love to read it. But until we see each other again, please remember your best is yet to come. Cheers.